to the US.
Indeed, something that happened in the United States tonight is being talked about around the world. A car driving into a crowd of people at the iconic Times Square in New York. One person reported to have died, 20 to have been wounded. And we take you there live, our correspondent Sherwin Bryce-pease, for more on that story. Sherwin, apparently you are at Times Square. What can you see at the moment?
Well, we are literally being moved back by a police cordon. You know, we were pretty close, about a block or two away from where this vehicle apparently plowed into as many as 20 pedestrians. I mean, this is Times Square, Francis. You'll know that it's a very busy place to be in New York, whether it's during the day or whether at night. And I can tell you temperatures are soaring about 30 degrees here in Manhattan. So today to be out and about. And literally just being moved back, we can confirm that as many as 20 people have been injured. One person, as you mentioned, confirmed dead. Police saw on the scene a heavy emergency services contingent. We were told that as many as 8 people were removed on stretchers. And of course, the first fear is always terrorism, especially in a city like New York, all too familiar with such acts in the city. But police, early indications are that police are saying this might have been a matter of a drunk driver driving up the wrong side of the road, then onto the sidewalk. So that this might have just been a drunk driver going up the wrong way instead of terrorism here, Francis.
Yeah, we saw in some visuals the driver being marched off, so we don't really know much about him at this stage. Sherwin, perhaps I have been there, and I think it's one of the maddest places in the world. Perhaps for people who haven't, you can explain the bustle and the congestion in this area as cars and pedestrians and everybody competes for space.
Well, I think when you close off any, a number of blocks in New York, particularly the hustle and bustling area of Times Square, it then has what I think we can describe it as a ripple effect. It was very difficult for us to get from our office to Times Square because traffic simply wasn't moving, because literally many blocks in the area have now been cordoned off. So traffic cannot move through this area. The pedestrian traffic cannot move through this area. There are many companies, many news bureaus that are based in Times Square in particular. And so a number of stores, businesses had to close their doors until the police gives the all clear that the vehicle itself is safe. And once they can confirm the clarity which they are certainly trying to seek right now. We are constantly being moved back further and further away from the scene to give investigators space. I guess they're concerned that there might be explosives possibly in that car. We doubt that is the case at this point, but out of a sense of greater precaution, we are being moved back away from the scene. But as you say, this is a very busy place, Francis, but looks a bit like a ghost town if you look down a certain road. People gathered on corners, but very quiet near the scene of where this accident happened.
Sherwin, you are saying that you're being moved back and detectives are there. Did you see people there? Are they trying to keep witnesses, people who saw this event? I saw one account that suggested the driver may have done this intentionally, but like you said, terror at this stage being ruled out. But I guess they would want to speak to those who saw this.
Absolutely, and I imagine that a number of the people that have been carted off to hospitals, as many as 20 people injured, a number, as I mentioned, removed on stretcher. Those will be certainly the best eyewitnesses accounts one can find. But this is a very busy place. I don't imagine the police are going to face any great difficulty in finding people who witnessed what happened firsthand. But what we do know, Francis, is essentially a car drove up the wrong side of the road onto the sidewalk. Of course, the sidewalk populated at this time of day with thousands of people. Obviously ramming his vehicle into a number of people, as many as 20 injured. The car is literally on 2 wheels stuck up against a security barrier. You know, New York is famous for having these steel barriers to protect building infrastructure from incidents like this. So that appears to possibly to have minimized the level of damage and casualties that might have been caused had that barrier not stopped the car. As I say, it's on its side. You can see the bottom of the carriage, and it's surrounded by emergency services right now.
All right, thank you very much, Sherwin Bryce-pease, reporting live from the area around Times Square. As he says, they're being moved back, and confirmation that one person has been killed, around 20 or so wounded. He was talking about those pulled away on stretchers, and this after a car seemingly rammed into pedestrians. The motives of the driver not yet clear at this